Welcome to this workshop. Today, we are talking about facing spiritual realities, the journey beyond material success. We live in a world where materialism still predominates. It predominates as a philosophy and as a basis for human life. But some of us, we adventure into the world of spirituality. So what is spirituality? What is this world? Even adventuring into this world of spirituality, we still have a tendency to see spirituality and success, even success on the spiritual path, in relation to material gain and material success. It is important for us to understand the realities of spirituality. If we do that, if we can understand that, we can go beyond material success. So how, in this workshop, I will make an effort to talk or just to bring this point of what we can expect in our spiritual path and what is different from a material path or material success. So let's get started on the workshop itself. Spiritual philosophy is, let's say, an enriching exploration. It's a journey into the deeper nuances of life, of karma, the law of action and reaction, and the challenges that we face on this path to spiritual enlightenment. We hear of tales of the Buddha, also Milarepa, and many other spiritual revolutionaries or spiritual seekers. We hear about the hardships they faced on their journey, their efforts, the perseverance, and then in the end, how they reached what they were looking for. And they were really committed to their spiritual journey. And it's enlightening for us to hear that, to understand it, to witness it, to read about it, or to watch movies that we create about it. But imagine if we have to go through that ourselves. And we do. That's the reality of the spiritual path. That is not only for those great personalities. That's for everyone moving on the path. You know, we all have this greatness within us. And as we move ahead on the path, this greatness comes out more and more. And we will eventually see that in our life, we'll go through similar situations as those great personalities we read about, and we think that they are so different from us. But we are all human beings, and we all go through similar situations and experiences. On this path, we will need to fight. There will be obstacles. There will be enemies. So it's a path for the courageous. We need courage. We need determination, perseverance. And we will face things like attraction for material objects, which is in us. We'll face it. And we'll face things like anger. Our anger, maybe we can't control it. It will take us in a different direction. And maybe we face also greed. inside us, greed is there. It's an enemy we have to overcome on this path. Karma, or the law of cause and effect. This is a fundamental tenet in many spiritual philosophies. And it suggests that our actions, whether in this life or previous ones, have consequences, consequences that we must face. When we do actions, we create reactions. So an action creates a reaction. That happens in the physical world. It happens also in the mental world. That's the world of this law of cause and effect. So those reactions, let's say I do an action, I will get a reaction, but they may not happen immediately or express immediately. They may remain accumulated, waiting for the right moment to come out. So it is relatively easy to philosophize about this action-reaction, so-called karma, or the challenges that spiritual pioneers of the past have faced. However, when we are confronted with the tangible repercussions of our past actions or unanticipated obstacles on our spiritual path, acceptance doesn't come that easily. It might be quite hard to face it personally. Not just to read about or to hear about and dream about it, but when we are facing it in that moment, that's quite hard. And many of these challenges may happen in physical level, but many may happen also in mental level. Sometimes in our mind, we pass through so many hardships. Sometimes those hardships are our own imagination, or like a quote I read once, that the worst things in our life never happened. I understood that sometimes we think of the worst things, and as we think it, we experience it, but they are not really happening. They are created by our mind. Success has two facets: spiritual success, material success. In today's world, success is often measured in material terms, in wealth, in health, and absence of troubles. There lies a misconception that when we embark on a spiritual path, such as practicing meditation, practicing yoga, we think that it will directly translate into material success, into a life devoid of challenges. But this perspective, it represents a superficial understanding of spirituality. And the reality may be different. I experienced it once in my life when I began practicing yoga seriously. I gave up many old habits and I started new habits. And that was a little bit difficult for my family to understand, also my friends. But I had one justification for, let's say, being vegetarian or doing the practices and avoiding certain things. I told them that it is better for health. And, people think about health and they think, yes, okay, yes, it seems better for health. And they accepted that. But what happened? Just shortly after, I became very sick. And so my justification was lost. I couldn't justify it as a health thing, so I had just to listen to all their comments and things and then try to not be moved by it and keep moving on my path. So I also, read on a book that had letters of disciples to one spiritual master called Vivekananda. So one of the disciples wrote to him like, Master, I heard that you got very sick. So I cannot follow you anymore because my understanding is that by practicing meditation and yoga, I have to be healthy, and even you are not healthy. So that happened. So what's the true purpose of spiritual practices? In the material world, we can measure our success. I got more of this, I got more of that, and I'm better in this way. It's easy to see, but what about in the spiritual path? So seeking material comforts and pleasure is a natural human inclination. But many spiritual teachers have pointed out, and we can also understand that material enjoyment is fleeting. It's temporary because the source is limited. If the source is limited, you can only get something limited out of it. And we human beings, we want always more. We want more and more and more. But the material source has its limitations. So eventually it will come the point that we will not be satisfied with that anymore. So our latest acquisitions or achievements, they very soon lose that allure. We notice, for example, in the modern life where technology is there and it's supposed to give us pleasure, to satisfy us, and we may watch like an advertisement, somebody driving a nice car, enjoying, big smile, maybe it's an off-road car, so can go up, down mountains, see beautiful places, cross streams, enjoy. But then the reality is if we get that vehicle, maybe we'll get a flat tire, maybe it breaks, maybe we have an accident. It gives lots of headaches, and it's not, doesn't match what is presented to us. And what we can get out of it as, let's say, joy may last for some time, but there will be always these ups and downs. So the true thing about spiritual practice is that we get a deeper self-awareness, knowing who we really are, what we really want, and deeper understanding of life, of what life is for, what is the goal of life. We can understand it deeper and truly on the spiritual path, not much on the material path. In materialism, most people don't even want to talk about it. We just want to carry on our life, carry on what we are doing if everything is going well, and not think that there is some purpose or some goal in this life. So let's not take spirituality or spiritual practices, meditation, yoga practices as tools for material enhancement. Meditation was not designed for us to produce more in our workplace. It was not designed for us just to cope with the stresses that modern life is giving us. Then we do meditation, we raise that stress, and we keep going. And the same, with yoga. Yoga is not just to remove all the tensions that we are accumulating on our day-to-day life, and then we do some yoga, remove these tensions, then we keep going with our regular, let's say, material life. These are tools to go deep within us, to awaken us to the realities, real realities of what life is. If we are looking for just material gain, we'll be in this cycle, in this ever-evolving chase. We're always chasing, means we want this and we get it, and then we want that and we get it, and we want that other one and we don't get it. We are frustrated, then we put more effort, we get it. All these temporary achievements of temporary things that don't last long, that don't really satisfy us. It's like a cycle. We're always on it. Let's say on a weekend, I go to a party. Oh, so nice. But then I drank, got headache, didn't feel well. But next day, yeah, I must enjoy this weekend. I must do this and I must do that. And in this way, we go jumping from one thing to another, looking for this satisfaction, happiness, self-realization, but we cannot find it in the limited material objects. It remains this cycle of always wanting something. And when you get, you have to want something more. Let's say you want to get a nice house, then you get a nice house, then you are there, then you say, and now what? Oh, maybe I need a vacation house. Okay, now let's get a vacation house. Or I need to travel to this country and know this country, and then you go, okay, oh, I got sick there, I got this problem, but I enjoyed this. Oh, now I want to go to that one. And we go on this cycle. Spirituality is about embracing the full spectrum of life. It's not about cutting, it's about adding. If we follow a spiritual path, we are not making our mind smaller, we are making our mind larger, more expanded. We are not making our existence more limited. We are just removing the limitations, because sometimes things that we have the idea that it's helping me, but it's actually creating a barrier. And removing these barriers, I can experience life more. So understanding and accepting life's entirety, not just a small portion of it. That's real spirituality. The spiritual path is not an escape. It's not like everything is going bad in my life, so let me go to a spiritual path. That's not it. It's about a deeper understanding of our purpose in life, of our role in life, where we are and what we have to do. That's the real spirituality. So true spirituality requires a profound understanding of life. Complete life, its ups, its downs, its joys, and its sorrows, the material world, the mental world, and the spiritual world. And by seeking this genuine spiritual growth, we must be prepared to embrace the challenges that life presents. We cannot escape. Of course, our first reaction when facing an obstacle or challenge is try to avoid it. But sometimes not possible. We have to face it. We have to overcome it. In that process of overcoming, I learn, I become strong, and I can move forward. So spirituality is not an escape, like an escape route from life's problems, but it's a deeper dive into them, understanding their nature, transcending them. In conclusion, the spiritual path is a journey of understanding, greater understanding. If you know the purpose, you know what you have to do. Life is easier. Let's say, usually I give an example. I give an example of a soccer game, or a football game, like we call in Brazil. There are 11 people and another 11 people in the stadium, and there is a ball and the 2 goals. And the game is good. The game is enjoyable when people know what the game is about. They know the rules. They know what to do. They know what's the purpose of the game. Now imagine those 22 people there. They don't know what they are there for. They are just there. They found themselves there. They don't know what the ball is for. They don't know. They will do various things. They will fight each other. They'll just sit and relax. They will vandalize the place. That's what's happening in the world today. Most people don't know what we are here for. Therefore, they do so many things, create problems with others, destroy the environment. Very few know what the purpose is. So the spiritual path is understanding that purpose, doing things related to that purpose. So the genuine spiritual growth might be different from material desires. It's natural that we may have material desires. We may want some comfort. I'm not telling comfort and facilities in life are bad. They are okay, as long as we are continuing to pursue our spiritual path and don't get, let's say, lost in the material comforts. That's not the goal. The goal is deeper, but that can happen. It's important also that we human beings create a good society where people have enough comfort so they can dedicate to spiritual practices. Spiritual path requires courage because scary things can happen. Requires perseverance because not all the time we are inspired. We are inspired and we lose inspiration. Then maybe we get inspired again. So to move from one point of inspiration to another, we need this perseverance. It's also a path of deeper understanding, knowing more. It's not a path of ignoring certain facets of life, but it's the path to understand the connection and understand the in-depth all the different parts or different facets of our life. The result, we will get profound inner peace, realization, understanding. This inner peace is like a subterranean thought in our mind. It's something that can be there all the time, even when we are dealing with difficulties in the world. So as we move on the spiritual path, we awaken, develop, and maintain it, this thought or this underlying feeling in our mind of peace that we can access as we withdraw a little bit from what's going on outside. We can access that peace, get established on it, and then we can come and act in the world inspired, maintained, sustained by that inner peace that we can get on the spiritual path. That is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for your attention. And if you have comments, questions, you are welcome to share. Namaskar.